Welcome, everybody, to part two of our show tonight on Tuesday, Truth Tuesday. Welcome. I'm David Sponheim. And today is obviously a kind of one of those days you got to put the brakes on and say, what the hell is Donald Trump thinking? Buying Greenland. And where are they going with their policy toward Iran? Are they planning a nuclear attack? And why is Donald Trump breaching nuclear treaties? And apparently, what's the goal here? To build more nuclear weapons? I mean, how is that going to help mankind? So a lot of these things are not being planned out properly by Donald Trump or his cohort Pompeo. The guy literally claims that he's a liar, Pompeo. Yep, Pompeo actually admits he's a liar. And as a former director of the CIA, this oath that he's taken of lying is kind of disturbing. Check this out.
It's pretty clear about what took place here, about Russian involvement in efforts to hack information and to have an impact on American democracy. I'm very clear-eyed about what that intelligence report says.
So he's clear about how the election was rigged. I got that. And watch this.
I was the CIA director. We lied, we cheated, we stole. It was like we had entire training courses. It reminds you of the glory of the American experiment.
I'm sorry, but what experiment is that where we're supposed to have leaders that lie, cheat, and steal? I'm sorry, I didn't get that memo. How is that an American experiment to lie, cheat, and steal? So we have a country comprised of liars, cheaters, and stealers at the top of our country's most important positions. And now he's acting like he's got some big success going on by claiming that he's limiting oil shipments. And apparently the U.S. removed almost 2.7 million barrels daily of Iranian oil from the market. This is some big plan of his. What's the end game here? Is he going to starve Iran out to the point where they're going to beg to come to some negotiating table and say, we don't want nuclear weapons, we just want oil? They've got plenty of oil in Iran. They have plenty of markets buying them. Who's he kidding? Apparently this guy's all about lies. Well, the liars and cheaters are bogging our country down. America's the best. And our country, guys named America's the best here, number one. We have a very open position right now. Our alliance with Saudi Arabia is very upfront. We've sold them nuclear weapons, which changes the dimension of the world peace in many ways. And I believe that Putin was kind of behind that because Putin wants to destabilize the Gulf. And he'll do anything to create aggression in that area so that they'll see higher prices in oil for Russia. And Putin has cozied up with Prince MBS, Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. And that's not going to actually be good for us if Putin's in a close connection with him when we've had a long-standing relationship with Saudi Arabia that Trump is supposedly nourishing. So there's kind of a little triumvirate going on there between Saudi Arabia, Putin, and Trump. Where it's going to go with our oil prices attacking Iran on sanctions isn't really clear. But Trump has effectively shut down trade with China, and it's not something we need, and it's hurting our economy. So very suspicious that Trump can't pull out of that. And all he has to do really is release Meng from any economic sanction violations. And she would automatically go back to, to not worrying about her problems. China would be restored insofar as they understand that we're serious about negotiating toward a tariff or a trade deal. But we're getting no progress because Trump is so stubborn and he wants it his way or the highway. I was the one that said don't sign the treaty with Iran, but I also said, if you recall, don't impose economic sanctions like we've done. We only need economic sanctions against counterfeit currency material. Things that they make money selling weapons to Hezbollah and ultimately fueling terrorism, these are the things we need to stamp off. And, Iran's going to do all kinds of surreptitious things regardless. That's in their nature. So we have to look at this as in realistic terms, how we as a world trading partner can make other 18 nations happy with Iran. Trump's not doing that. So, the recent missile tests by Russia and China happened about, 3 or 4 months ago. Now, Russia is claiming, and China is claiming, that they're accusing the U.S. of stoking tensions with this missile test we just did. It's a short-range missile test we did. Russia and China accused the United States on Tuesday of stoking military tensions by testing a ground-launched cruise missile, but the foreign ministry in Moscow said it would not be drawn into an arms race. It's ironic because Moscow has already been talking about having weapons that go 27 times the speed of sound. And Putin has also said that they've got weapons that'll actually pierce our entire coastline underwater. So who's kidding who? They've been stoking the aggression just like Trump is now. But you notice that neither country is looking toward building a new treaty, a small arms limitations treaty. Nobody, which is very suspicious. I think it's all about making money. I think the military-industrial complex has hijacked both Russia and the U.S. and other countries around the world, and they literally just want to make money fueling aggression between humans. Think about it. If they could get everybody to kill each other off, they'd win. They'd acquire depopulation. They'd eliminate the population. War is a win-win for the New World Order. They want to get rid of people, right? So that's why they're promoting small limitations, or rather no limitations on small arms and nuclear arms. I don't know. Is Larry Sinclair Jewish? Does it matter? Cold War was a practice run. Yeah, in a way. I think they're ramping up for more and more war. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, Larry Sinclair was a man who openly talked about his life and was willing to discuss it at an open forum for all of us to see. He opened up about his relationship with Barack Obama, and Obama never questioned this guy or charged him with any type of a crime. So apparently, by default, Barack Obama has lost in the credibility department, and this guy's winning long term.
I would hear from someone in a few days. In mid to late October 2007, I received a second call from this Mr. Young, at which time I clearly became aware that this individual was personally involved with Senator Obama rather than just an employee of his campaign. The tone of the conversation had a sexual nature. Mr. Young did not once advise me how he obtained my phone number, which by this time had now changed to a Delaware number. In late October 2007, I received a text message from the gentleman identified as Mr. Young, in which he stated he was intimately involved with Senator Obama and that Obama was discussing with him and his pastor how to publicly acknowledge Senator Obama's drug use in 1999, and that Obama wanted to be sure I had not discussed the sexual encounters or drug incidents with any media at that time. In mid to late November 2007, in another text message from Mr. Young, he advised me that Senator Obama will publicly correct his statement as to the last time he used drugs, and I did not need to concern myself with publicly disclosing it myself. The last contact I had with Mr. Young was in early December 2007, when he made it clear to me that Senator Obama had no intentions of publicly acknowledging his 1999 use of crack cocaine, and that Mr. Young was in fact doing nothing more than milking information from me for Senator Obama's use. I later learned that A. Donald Young, the choir director of Reverend Wright's Trinity United Church of Christ, Obama's now former church, and who was openly homosexual, learned that he was murdered on December 23rd of 2007. I have cooperated with the Chicago Police Department in this matter by providing them the telephone numbers I was using during the fall of 2007. And I release them now publicly in the hope that someone may be able to connect the dots between these telephone numbers and Mr. Young.
Okay, at this point, he gives away his telephone numbers. But this Donald Young was the guy that had him on the phone who said he was in a homosexual relationship with Barack Obama. And his mother said, Mom fears son was slain to protect secrets of pal who became president. And that was the last we ever heard from her. She was a bookkeeper at Chicago PD for 30 years. And she worked very hard and then disappeared. We haven't heard from her since. But that's how powerful the New World Order is. They can cover up entire cases. Now, Donald Young was not the only one who had a homosexual relationship with Barack Obama. There were 3 men that were killed in 2007, not just Donald Young. These 3 men were Nate Spencer, Larry Bland, and Donald Young. Nate Spencer died of gunshots, unknown assailant. Donald Young died of gunshots, and Larry Bland died of AIDS rather quickly, way faster than he should have, especially with all the drugs that we've got out there. He died really quick on the bed. So, yeah, we are very concerned that Larry Sinclair did the work and nobody listened. So the New World Order has been lying to us for some time. We talked about in part 1 about how Michelle, actually the pre-show, we discussed how Michelle was a transgender and is a transgender. I didn't discuss it much in depth, but it's more than obvious that Michelle is packing something in between her legs. And I'm not the first person to talk about this. This is a big story, and it was dropped completely. When the birther issue was pushed aside by Donald Trump, the issue about Obama's transgender lover, Michelle, was pushed aside. And it's unfortunate because Michelle, has been seen in a photograph, a video photograph, having a penis. And we've shown you video casts of this before. Some things in her pants there. Yeah, especially, dancing during the Ellen DeGeneres show. She was seen having that. And then we've seen pictures from their youth when Obama was in Occidental, which show Michelle Obama standing there. And it's a dude. His name is Michael LaVaughn Robinson. And this is just right in your face, folks. And you were lied to, thinking Michelle and Barack were a normal couple. Far from it. Have anyone accused me of being a woman? Only people like you. Yeah. Yeah, and he ran for mayor. Yeah, Larry Sinclair ran for mayor in his home state of Florida. But Barack Obama's been up front in various places. He's kissed the gay leaders, like what a beautiful couple. President Obama being greeted by gay rights activists, and Michelle looking at it. So I'm not here to talk about people being gay. I'm talking about a president who lied to the American people and got away with it. And crack smoking, he did a lot of crack smoking in Occidental, and it went on in his life. And I don't think we should sit around and pretend like everything's just fine when Michelle is packing a penis. So, this is an actual photograph. This is not photoshopped. So if we don't get to the bottom of what the lies are going on, and I mean as far back, way before Obama, but as far back as JFK being assassinated, we haven't had leaders. We've had liars. And this has been the biggest problem in our country. Our country hasn't had good people. Nobody runs who's good. They're just a bunch of scumbags. Well, let's be clear. Michelle has a penis. Michael has a penis. I don't know what Michelle calls Barack Obama. I know that they've got a solid, quiet standing order. They can't talk about it. There's incriminating evidence that was taken in the White House by James Alefantis and Chris Crocker. And from all we know is that they gathered with 2 videographers and made videos. Barack and Michelle did. And I believe it was insurance that the elites want to make sure that they would never talk. So they probably have them in compromising positions, and they'll use that against them. Much like we know now that Mueller has said that Donald Trump was blackmailed by Russia over the sex tape. And you Republicans who said the sex tape's not real, you must now know it is real. And Donald Trump is, he's losing it. He's got a lot of things going against him right now. They're leveraging him, so they control him. They're going to make a Matrix 4 movie. Outstanding. Keanu Reeves is going to be in it, no doubt. That'll be outstanding. That'll be great. Thanks, Bengalitis, for telling me. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Welcome, Mr. Anderson, to the new Matrix. Your problem, Mr. Anderson, is you believe Zion will protect you. But it won't, Mr. Anderson. Putin controls Trump and anybody else, yeah. That'll be good. Can't wait to see it. It'll revive the message of Matrix, because a lot of young people don't even know what the Matrix movie is about. They've never been in the Matrix. The Matrix is where everything is fake, and you believe everything you see. As you know, I'm real. Here's the story. Morning Glory. Neo returns. Keanu Reeves confirms to star in The Matrix 4 alongside original co-star Carrie Ann Moss. Oh, awesome. That's great. Whoa. Hey, cut down the... Lana Wachowski will helm the new project. Lana is a beautiful transgender woman. And her brother, sister, Kamo. Yeah, they're very creative, those two. They created Sense8. They've been working on Sense8. We don't know if Lana's a dude, a woman, or... Yeah, we're not really... Oh. Let's see what Lana looked before sex change. There he is. You know, I gotta tell you, I think Lana makes a better looking woman. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just throw it out there. Hey, Amber. Okay. Do you think Lana looked like better as a woman or as a dude? I don't know. Who cares? That's good news. I'm so glad they're filming again. In The Matrix. Okay, the truth is a study has linked fluoride consumption during pregnancy to a lower IQ in children. We talked about the dangers of fluoride. It's a fact now. The truth is fluoride in our water system will affect our intelligence. So that's not some conspiracy theory, folks. Fluoride is a neurotoxin, slightly worse than lead, slightly better than arsenic. And they're putting it in our toothpaste, and they're not telling kids up front with big, huge labels, do not eat. Seriously. David is a replicant, 4.52. I don't know why you think I'm a replicant. I mean, it's absurd. I've been doing this show for, 11 years. You watch my show every day. There's been no transitionary character who's filled in between those times. There is no period in which I have been phased out from some sort of humanoid form. Uh-oh. Hey, are you going to come into the show, KY Poopy, and do a little live broadcasting? Yeah, I haven't opened up chat tonight. Yeah, my bad. Let me expand our board. Yeah. KY Poopy hasn't broadcast in years. Yeah. Okay, so water fluoridation has been hailed by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention as one of the top great public health achievements. Huh. Of the 20th century, but a new study raises questions about its role as a potential neurotoxin in utero. The study, published in the journal, the JAMA Pediatrics Journal on Monday, found that increased levels of fluoride exposure during pregnancy were associated with declines in IQ in children. Previous research has made similar findings, but this is the first such study to evaluate the effect of fluoride on populations receiving what the U.S. Public Health considers an optimal levels of 0.7 milligrams of fluoride per liter of drinking water, like in the U.S. and Canada. They assessed 601 Canadian mothers and children, tracking the fluoride exposure of 512 of the mothers by looking at the average concentration of fluoride in urine samples taken throughout their pregnancies as a proxy for prenatal fluoride exposure. So the poor kids who had mothers were stuck with lots of fluoridated water are dumb. Gee, Ma, why did you give me so much fluoride when I was growing up. I don't even understand that, you know? I said Democrats, yes. What do you have, a problem with the word Democrat and libtard and Trumptard? We don't like the two parties, man. Get it straight. I'm not here to placate the Democrats or placate the Republicans. Well, good for you. I'm glad you have no fluoride in your water. I've been told the same thing in my water, municipal water system, but it's got a lot of total dissolved solids. So I have to filter every damn drop of water. I have a reverse osmosis filter going into a zero water filter. That's how much filtration I do. Hi, Sam. Welcome to the show. Sam the Butcher's here. He's got a few meat deliveries just finished up on, and he dropped a few pot roasts off and a few tri-tips, and you're back up on the computer talking to Dave. Yeah, really, we should replace 5 milligrams per gallon of CBD instead of fluoride. That's a great idea. Yeah, you have lots of fluoride, water has it, but they miraculously find more cavities in your teeth every day. Well, the thing is that there are studies showing that if you apply toothpaste with fluoride directly to your tooth, and then, of course, rub it in with a brush and then rinse it out, you will have some benefits. There are studies that show that. So a lot of treatments for pre-cavity conditions talk about fluoride regimes. I get that. I understand that that's possible, but as long as you really, really rinse out. Because the idea is to lay the fluoride over your enamel, which protects it. But there's no evidence water in your system is going to make your enamel stronger. None whatsoever. And I've searched the rosters of information. And there are even some fake studies out about fluoride that have no... I've actually found one from the University of San Francisco from a guy that never existed. I actually ran down his name and he never existed. But the fluoride studies are strictly for applying directly to your teeth and then rinsing. Now, that being said, we've got 67% of our water supply heavily fluoridated. And kids are losing their brain power. They're going to look at further investigation to see whether boys are more vulnerable to fluoride neurotoxicity. The researchers also measured the fluoride intake in 400 of the mothers against their children's IQ scores. It's a big shift. That translates to millions of IQ levels lost because of fluoridation. They found that for every 1 milligram per liter increase in fluoride by the mother, there was a 3.7 point drop in the child's IQ. So if you're on a 7 milligram per liter dose, which is typical in the US, 0.7 milligrams. Okay, they studied 0.7. They noticed the 3.7. So if you're on a lot of fluoride, it's going to double, triple, or quadruple that. Okay, now you know why your kids are going, oh, what a Rosina, huh? And a lot of your kids, you want your kids to be smart. I know you do. But they aren't going to be smart. A lot of them aren't because you were drinking fluoride during your pregnancy. Don't feel guilty. You just didn't know. Now, what can your kids do when they grow up because they're not as smart as they could be? Well, jobs are disappearing. Automation is destroying our ability to work. Jobs are being taken over by robots and artificial intelligence and machines, veritably. So we've come up with a lot of ideas that will get your kids work without having to be, really brainy people. It's a simple concept that we put out. We've got hybrid capitalist ideas to fix the country. Thank you. One of the ideas that we want is the Homestead Renewal Plan, where you can actually get a job fixing up houses. And many of you could easily get your kids into this, and you could all participate in the program. We'll start with the HUD program and build our way out house by house, but yeah, expect $15 an hour doing that. And your kids might want to learn a basic, simple trade of solar rooftop installation, which knowing the basics is pretty simple, making sure your connections are right. They don't have to be rocket scientists to make $20 an hour. Good idea, right? We also have the basic income plan of $500 a month, which we started with, but I'll easily match any top Democrat who happens to have a higher plan. If Andrew Yang wins the Democratic nomination, I'll bump it to $11.11 a month. But $500 a month for any U.S. citizen not collecting a disability or Social Security is a great way to start. So we've got a lot of ways to get people back on track. Yeah, the 11-11 is on, yes. If Andrew Yang or Elizabeth Warren wins the nomination, the 11-11 plan is on. That'll beat both of them. But I'll have to finance it through money taken out of the military-industrial complex. I'm more than willing to do that. It won't jeopardize our national security at all. But a lot of rich corporate military guys are going to be going, that's not right, we don't like that. You know, our squirt bottles probably contain more than, 200 micrograms of what are called microplastic particles. Every single bottled water out there has about roughly 150 to 200 little pieces of plastic, teeny albeit, but they're in every bottle. So it's landing in our liver and in our filters and our body, and our body's digesting it in the way it can, or it doesn't. If you'd like, I can do a complete body scan from the ChatDar capability. Any of you having problems? Let me check your liver. Let me zoom into your liver from your webcam. That'd be kind of funny if we did that. You'd have to create kind of a zooming effect. Zooming. I'm not going to be able to analyze your liver. I was kidding. Here is your liver. Okay. Here's me zooming. Yeah, exactly. I am looking into your liver. I'm seeing microplastics in abundance. Don't worry. Your liver never tells you it's sick. It just doesn't work anymore and then you die. But no, I'm not, I don't have any, I can't look into your liver. I'm kidding. Thank you. I'm not really that important. All I am is Mr. Right.
You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I find. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good. Just spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I find. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away.
Okay, yeah, I got stuck in that mode, sorry. Okay, we presented the idea of nuclear being unclear last night. That was pretty interesting. We had a lot of problems with that that concept. Yeah. Maybe we could revisit that now. Let's do it. Okay, the truth of nuclear is that we've got spent fuel rods all over the world that are absolutely dangerous and are long-term hazards, and the government's done nothing at all to minimize their dangers. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Well, the There's a nuclear spit rod near me. Mr. Robinson, stay away from the nuclear rod. What are you talking about? Bug zapper? Oh, cool. Maxed out credit as a bug zapper for his apartment. I wonder what it looks like. You want to show me on camera? I know, dude. KY Poopy's still lamenting about the microplastics in all his squirt bottles. Bummer, dude. Yeah, so we've got some problems with nuclear, and our government's done nothing to talk about it. Trump doesn't want to deal with the spent nuclear problem. I mean, I'm sure he would probably start saying, oh, we're going to take care of the nuclear problem after I bring it up. Oh, we're going to handle the nuclear problem. No problem. It's going to be a big solution. Very, very large. I mean, what an idiot. He'll just follow whatever we say here. So we know that if we talk about the nuclear problem, he'll bring it up. But he won't do anything about it. The problem is these people still believe in their heart that nuclear radiation is okay and that humanity can continue to make energy off of nuclear waste, even though Fukushima continues to drain into our ocean. And we haven't done a damn thing to even monitor the coastline of California, Oregon, and Washington. So I'm here to talk about that. Are we done talking about it? I'd like to get on to the next topic, if you don't mind. Thank you. Well, great. I'm glad you have a new bug zapper. I'm going to go down to a Harbor Freight and see if they have one. Sarah needed one this summer, and I didn't have one. I was kind of bummed out. Yep. I said to Sarah we should get something for the bugs, but it cost me basically, I can't even take her back east anymore because she's afraid of mosquitoes. She's really allergic. And I understand that the EEE virus is in the mosquito now, causing coma and near death. I'm not exactly okay with that. Okay, so just so you know, I talked about the nuclear option tonight. We'll be dealing with spent fuel rods the best way we can. I talked about storing them at Yucca Flats, but I think we're going to be able to get rid of 97% of their dangerous radiation at some point. We're going to have to build a nuclear reactor that will just simply run on spent fuel rods. And to get a slow burn going and pipe the electricity to Vegas or Flagstaff or all of the above. So if you're in Vegas and you're wondering where you're getting your energy, it might be coming from a modern nuclear radiation spent fuel rods solution. It's been on 1 hour and it kills throughout 3 per second, 10 seconds. Cool. I'm pretty happy, Max. I'm glad you got it. Montreal is, like any place on the East Coast, pretty heavy with bugs. Yep. Dr. Meow has a cat obsession. Rare footage of quiet pterodactyls. These girls are so busy. They were learning to run, climb, and play with toys. Last night, one ate soft food and Penny used the litter box. Okay. This is beginning life as a kitty cat. Isn't this the cutest little photo? Coming from a guy that wants to hurt Muslim people. Aw, look at that. That is such a cute photo. Look at that. Cats are so wonderful. Bless them. Bless you for blessing them. That's so special. One little black cat in the whole group. Isn't that funny? David, have you ever been a gangbanger? No, I have not been a gangbanger. What is a gangbanger? I am analyzing the Urban Dictionary. Are you a person involved in gangs? A person involved with gangs themselves? I have not been. Black cat's going to be alienated, you know that. That's going to a case of prejudice there. They'll treat the black cat like you treat Muslims. Yeah, I know. A little microcosm of your world there, buddy. The battle to build a third party is ongoing and takes years. We only make incremental progress every single day that we do the show. It's growing naturally, organically. People talk about our show all the time, and I'm really glad that they do. But raising awareness for the country and fighting evil of lies and deceit by the mainstream media is like a double job. And when we do that daily, we can only do so much. And many of you don't want to believe that there's such corruption out there that would get Jeffrey Epstein off and free. But there is. And that's the problem. There is corruption in the ranks. You can see it. Mark, his brother behind him, is going to receive $577 million, but I noticed a distinct discrepancy. The Wiki published Jeffrey Epstein's assets at $7 billion about 2 years ago, and now it's at $1 billion. So somebody has gone into the Wiki and made alterations to his net worth. This is not the first time it's happened. It happened with Anthony Bourdain too. Now, I don't think Anthony Bourdain is alive. I think they took his money. He had $14 million saved up, and when he died, he only had $1.5 million. Gone. $12.5 million when Anthony Bourdain was killed. But they called that a suicide. Like they're calling Jeffrey Epstein a suicide. He's got $6 billion missing. That's significant. Now you're getting me a theory that Stephen Paddock was a pedophile. This is a lot of crap, in my opinion. This is called making up lies about lies. I don't believe Stephen Paddock was even the shooter. I believe that they had more than enough evidence that there were 3 shooters on the building with Mandalay Bay. He was not a shooter on in that window. There's no real solid evidence convincing me that this is happening. So now they're making up a story that he ran a pedophile ring. All right. He made millions of dollars in the process, according to explosive new evidence that threatens to disrupt the official narrative. He worked for the government contractor Morton Thiokol, a predecessor of Lockheed Martin. He retired in '88, yet he continued earning millions. Gambling experts will tell you that the official narrative that Paddock earned millions playing video poker is an impossible fairy tale. They say that nobody earns millions playing video poker. All right, whatever. That alone doesn't make him a pedophile. He owned 2 planes during his time working for Morton Thiokol and had a pilot's license. He owned a company called Paradise Ranch, a joint venture with Felipe Children's Fund of America. Provides a transitional home for American children we fly from the Philippines. There's mainstream media blackout on the information. Interesting. Strangely enough, there's also a Paradise Ranch in the Philippines and his partner, Mary Lou Danley's home country. That's right. He was with that woman. It's right next to a U.S. Air Force base, as well as known international hub of the darkest trade in the world, child sex trafficking. Okay, well, I mean, this is an interesting theory, but I haven't seen any facts yet. Okay, well, again, I haven't seen any solid facts in this allegation, other than the one interesting side note is that when the Clark County Police Department found Stephen Paddock's computer, they announced publicly that the hard drive was missing. A year and a half later, they said that they had found kiddie porn on his hard drive. That alone is very suspicious. Okay, here's a global research story that looks pretty good. Thanks, Misanthropy. The spoils of war, Afghanistan's multi-billion-dollar heroin trade. Wow, yeah, let's talk about that for a bit. Nobody talks about how the CIA has been making $50 billion a year on the heroin industry. I do. I talk about it. I guess I'm not no one. But this study was first published in 2005, updated in 2015-17. But it talks about the opioid crisis in America. And there were 189,000 heroin users in the U.S. in 2001. 189,000. But after we went to the invasion of the U.S., NATO invasion, by 2016, the number went up to 4.5 million heroin users. There's 2.5 million heroin addicts and 2 million casual users, and the price of heroin has gone down considerably. Despite the president announcing U.S. troop withdrawals, the opium trade continues to get protection from U.S. NATO forces. So Trump is only using my line of getting out of Afghanistan to make it sound like he's a peacenik. he's not serious about getting Afghanistan. And even John Bolton has said publicly he's not going to get out of Syria. Even though Trump said what I said all along, we would pull out of Syria. It hasn't happened. And everything Trump says is basically a lie. So he won't talk about this, though. This is a powerful story. Going from 189,000 in 01 to at least 2.5 regular heroin addicts and 2 million casual users is a huge jump and significant and should not be overlooked. Thank you for that shared story. Yeah, I heard that he created a $577 million trust 2 days before he suicided. The whole thing points to some weird... Mark Epstein, his brother, I think is going to be working directly with the new Epstein wherever he is. If I were investigating, there would be a grand jury investigation. I'd have Mark Epstein on a watch list, and we'd have a full subpoena, or possibly at least a court order or warrant for at least surveillance of Mark and all of his financial records. If Mark made one move, we would know if Epstein was getting any money at all. I believe Epstein's alive and has faked his suicide. There's more than enough evidence to conclude that. All of Epstein's assets were transferred to the trust as of August 8th, assuring the details on how the proceeds are distributed remain private. But again, it doesn't make any sense because I was researching at Epstein's assets at $7 billion and now it's down to $578 million. There's something very wrong here. There's no way he has $578 million when he had $7 billion 2 years ago. Concrete trucks and carpet pullers don't cost that much money. And this has caused the royals
Jeffrey
to be...
Epstein leaving his New York townhouse with a young woman. An hour later, Prince Andrew appears at the door with another young woman, opening it just slightly to wave her off. It's the emergence of this footage which sparked an unusually swift response from Buckingham Palace. The pictures are from 2010, more than a decade after Epstein and Prince Andrew met, and just 2 years after Epstein pleaded guilty to 1 count of solicitation of prostitution and 1 count of solicitation of prostitution of a minor. This avoided any federal charges which could have seen him face life in prison.
Now, I will play this tonight in our show. Thanks for the link. It does seem to me that Acosta's testimony that he backed off of only gave him 13 months as a prosecutor in jail because Epstein, they said, was part of the intelligence community, is very telling. And you probably won't even hear that here. If Epstein was being used to manipulate people like Prince Edward and all of the others that allegedly were at his location posing with young girls, whether they were involved or not, it belies a deeper, more sinister plot to control politics with blackmail, and a very dark world of blackmail at that. So when Mueller said that Donald Trump was being blackmailed for the past 2 years by Russia and made no big deal about it and said it was beyond his purview, and he said it was over the sex tape, all we have to assume is that Donald Trump is mixed up into the Zionist cabal and blackmail. His friend Jeffrey Epstein is mixed up into the Zionist cabal of blackmail. And all of this is still in play. And that's why they're both getting protection. And we know from the testimony of Justice for Katie, the girl that claimed that Donald Trump raped her at the age of 13 with Jeffrey Epstein present at Mar-a-Lago. That story went nowhere because Katie herself said that she was her life was threatened and she had to, completely back out of the case. That's another case that would be brought into the grand jury investigation if I were doing it. And it looks like Donald Trump has been engaged in systematic threats like the ones that Stormy Daniels got when some Goomba came up to her and said, "Hey, you better not talk about do the Trump thing. Oh, what a pretty little daughter. We wouldn't want anything bad to happen to a daughter, would we?" That was never investigated. Mueller blew past that and let Michael Cohen walk on that one. Now, Michael Cohen said he had a lot more evidence that Russia contaminated our election. A lot more evidence. And the Democrats wouldn't cut him a deal. So it's pretty obvious that the Democrats at the highest level, Nancy Pelosi, and the Republicans at the highest level, Donald Trump, are clearly working for this cabal of Zionists that are protected, and it deals with blackmail of people. This is obvious at this point. This is textbook GRU work. Exactly. And we have to look at this as a public assessment, because if we don't, our nation is going to be completely controlled by these elitists forever and ever. They got our public officials doing sex with 17-year-olds and with videotape. All of our public officials are probably compromised at some level. I wouldn't know, but I mean, I'm guessing. Epstein has always been part of the Russian intelligence group. Yeah, and it's obvious that basically they've got blackmail on everybody. So our country basically is being controlled from within by Russian Zionists and AIPAC Zionists, people who are already buying up the two-party system with their American-Israeli Political Affairs Committee money. Howie, you're obsessed with government workers being fat. We could also put together a plan for everyone to kind of get thin. If your BMI is beyond 25%, you could actually be pulled out and asked to lose weight by a year's time. Otherwise, you would face removal, and we'd have to, fire you. That's one option. Well, if this is something I can't go public with because, you're planning on doing something yourself, I have no way of helping you, sorry. I would never do anything without judicial authority to do that. I can't do anything. My hands are tied. I can't start a grand jury investigation. William Barr is acting like he's going to start one, but he's not. He's had a few days to do it, and he hasn't done anything. William Barr could easily start a grand jury investigation into the entire NYPD thing as well. But he hasn't. None of them have. They actually have no desire whatsoever to prosecute or look into the Jeffrey Epstein obvious differences in his face. So far, Max has lost 18 pounds in the last 2 months just cooking my kind of food. Good job, Max. I've never been a criminal, no. I have no criminal history. I just think it's improper to threaten people, Dr. Meow. I mean, if you're going to do that, I don't think it's appropriate here.
Hello, Max Out Credit.
Well, I'd like to introduce you to Sarah, my programmer. She will be in the show for a few minutes. Thank you, Sarah. She's handling my program. All right. I will take off now. See you later.
Okay, thank you. Oh, what happened to David? Whoa, where'd you go? All right, just kidding. All right. Maybe I aspire to be that, but no, not a programmer yet. You bought a bug zapper? Works great. Glad to hear it. Maxed out credit. Hello, KY. Yeah. How about it? Kentucky. I should call you Kentucky. That's what I should call you. Please unban all. You need to ask David to unban all. Boso Rama. Instead of me. You can ask me to unban individuals, but I will not unban all. Do I hide food from David? Does David hide food from me? Does David hide food from other people? Sure, I can save some links for David. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm doing really well. I realized like next week at this time, I'll be back. Well, not this time, but next week on this day, I'll be back in training. I'll be doing some training next week to get trained up and get my mind set in the school. So that's one of the things I've been thinking about. David has an old food stash. I don't know about a bad food stash. Okay. Yeah, I could have a master's class in stern looks. It's well, one is about, I'm going to do some training on equity and some training in new math curriculum. Not new math, but math curriculum that my district recently adopted, so it's new curriculum for our district. If they do that, I love fries, I say, I think you need to go to the restroom. That's probably your body saying you need to go to the restroom. So go ahead and go and come back in 5 minutes. Maybe I have the hiccups, I don't know. All right, got them all. Thank you. They do look like things I did not have open, so, or David did not have open. You're pretty much the only person I open links from. Well, sometimes you and Dr. Meow and Maxed Out Credit. There's a bunch of fires that nobody's talking about, all on the Amazon. That's pretty crazy. Are you keeping me awake? Maybe a little bit. Yeah, I do think I might take a nap after this. Well, I was like gonna take a nap, and then I was playing a game on my phone, and I should have just been sleeping, but I was also listening to a book on tape. Oh, there's fires in Alaska and Northern California. Wow. All right, you want me to... Oh, is that your picture of your Zapper, the tiny URL? Sorry. Oh, Pedro's half-brother. Oh, experts challenge studies suggesting children exposed to higher levels of fluoride in utero may have lower IQ scores. They're already being challenged by a number of experts. $500 pregnant women in 6 Canadian cities. No impact on the IQ scores of girls. Huh. Wait, there was a reduction in both boys and girls. Alright, that's pretty interesting. Thank you for those links. Oh, maxed out credit, you're giving the same things as he is? I'll do the zapper picture. Oh, that's cool. Aspect Tech 20-watt electronic bug zapper. Insect killer for residential and commercial use. Nice. So it kills all kinds of insects. Works great. Nice. I don't know what happened to Ghost. I hope he's still around. Watch this. I'll feel better. Aw, they're so cute, the little kittens. But I definitely don't want any more cats myself. It's like looking at pictures of babies. Super cute, but I don't want any babies. Oh, maybe. Wait, Ghost, Alex Jones, what? Ghost I know was definitely not Alex Jones, but you think he might have been arrested? That would not really surprise me. No, I'm not gonna get any puppies or anything. Amber's already like seems very tired, and anyway. Good video on the Ice Age. Nice. Oh, there's a ghost that streams on Vaughn.
Over Earth's...
But he doesn't show his face, even though he's Alex Jones, you say? Does he show his face? I mean, Alex Jones would probably show his face because he's pretty... cocky, egocentric, conceited. I mean, he would want to show his face, I would think. Because that's just the kind of hairpin he is. That whole idea of space, they have the idea to, I agree, I don't think that they should spray chemtrails to try to make the planet cooler. That just does not compute to me, especially at night. That's what it sounds like right now to me. Alright, star 67 left the chat. Hello, Wormhole. The Watcher is just watching quietly. Hello, Genesis. Oh, wait, you left. I think. And there's a whole bunch of guests. Oh, okay. Thanks, Bosorama. I don't watch other people's shows, so I don't know who's broadcasting. Just like I don't watch the news. I guess I'm too self-involved and busy with my own life. Egocentric. Conceited. Myself, maybe. Oh, in reality, the Earth cycle changed. The tilt of Earth to cause the Ice Age. Check out that video.
Over Earth's long history,
Oh, wait, I think I already had
there
it.
have been dramatic changes.
Yeah, I already have that open. Thanks for telling me. I don't really want to share that information. Yeah, that looks like a good video. It has some strange ideas. Okay. I don't know you enough, Bosorama, to click on your videos. It talks about the reflection aspect in that video and their concept of the chemtrail stuff. Oh no, okay, just reflection in the ice during the Ice Age. I guess that's why David's broadcasting. Maybe he hasn't banned as many people. Do you think that's the case, Misanthropy? Where he doesn't show his face and people like the mystery. It took 200 to 300 years to melt 10,000 feet of ice over North America. Wow. I don't know if David enjoys solitude. He likes being around me, so he doesn't want to be all alone, as long as he's with a couple people. Do you enjoy solitude? Talking to a camera gives me the idea that I'm not really, I have some kind of social life. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Some of you are trying to avoid people. Super energetic. Okay. Opposite of me then. You try to avoid people because they always want you to fix something for free. I do avoid people like that. People that think I'm a programmer. I'm not a programmer or a coder. I'm tired. I haven't gone back to work yet. I know I shouldn't be tired. But I am trying to get up a little bit earlier. But then I stay up later. I still stay up late with David watching like a show. The wacky tobacco meta-nemesis. Hello, meta-nemesis. Nice to see you. I don't think David would want to be interviewed anyway. Bosorama. It's like, no, better to just leave the two separate entities be. Oh, you can tell counterfeit money with a bug zapper light? How many counterfeit bills did you catch with a bug zapper light?
Yeah, he's got a lot of gnats. We got to check that thing out at Harbor Freight. They say it's pretty cool. It may help you.
Oh, it has a backlight, black light. Okay.
Yeah, it has like a barrier against insects from attacking you, and it'll kill them ethically, electrocuting them ethically.
Oh, don't worry, Misanthropy. I will leave so you can talk to Meta Nemesis.
Yeah, really.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Sarah. Thank you for coming in.
I'll try not to play my game and I'll just listen to my audiobook. And then maybe I'll
try
take a
not
nap.
to play your game and enjoy yourself.
Because I get into my game and then I can't, like, and then I won't take a nap and I want to take a nap so I can watch a video with you and then still.
Okay, well, I'll be available at 10 to watch video. I know you're not quite ready to start early morning wake-ups, so. Right. Oh, right. So everyone who's going down under, Meow TV is describing his subterranean world among the elitists, and everyone who goes down under will have somehow get rid of their greed. That's funny. We have a link from somebody named Mark Epstein. How not to be a slave to your brain, Dr. Mark Epstein. Wow. It's not the same Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother. No. That's not the same guy, is it? Or do you know for a fact it is? Because it doesn't look like him. That guy right there does not look like this guy. I'm not his partner. Yeah, slightly different, yeah. You can believe that if you want. I mean, are you tracking Katy Perry? Whoa, do you realize that comes under the heading of stalking? If you're not a feminist, or if you're a feminist, you have to take the allegations against Katy Perry seriously. Okay.
The teenage dream boy. You're so lucky you did that with Katy. I am very lucky. Blessed. But I'm not her boy. I'm not her boy. So, she made that very clear. I'm the prostitute.
Whoa.
That's the point of this.
Wow.
If you guys want to flip the card over and have me be a pop singer who grabs Katy by the wrong, exposes her breasts or her vagina to others, said, look at that. And you want her to just, tell me immediately, or wait a while and then tell me when she gets enough courage and she stops trying to protect my awesome image because she's a good person, she cares. You figure that one out in your head. But I'm going to do what I got to do. Hey.
Okay, so this guy allegedly was involved with Katy Perry. If Josh Kloss was a woman and Katy Perry was a man, his accusations would be all over the news and Perry would be off the radio, but that's not the case. So this guy is upset that Katy Perry is accusing him of being a prostitute. Wow. I see his point, yeah. Oh, you want to actually watch that? Okay, let's watch it.
Boy, you're so lucky you did that with Katie. I am very lucky. I'm blessed. But I'm not her boy. I'm not her boy. So, she made that very clear. I'm her prostitute. And that's the point of this. If you guys want to flip the card over and have me be a pop singer who grabs Katie by the bra and exposes her breasts or her vagina to others, I said, look at that. And you want her to just, tell me immediately, or wait a while and then tell me when she gets enough courage and she stops trying to protect my awesome image because she's a good person, she cares. You figure that one out in your head. But I'm going to do what I got to do. Your hate.
Did you see that in the mark of the devil there? Did you see that? With a hand signal?
Your hate. But I'm going to do what I got to do. Your hate.
Yeah, right there. See?
You figure that one out in your head. But I'm going to do what I got to do.
Right there. Yeah. The mark of the devil going downward in his hand. So I'm not sure, should we judge him or should we not judge him? Thou shalt not judge. Do I really care? No. Do I want to talk about Katy Perry? Yes. Do I want to talk about Katy Perry possibly being JonBenét Ramsey? Yes. I know. I haven't talked about this in a long time, but the truth will come out. We're going to look at the parents of both Katy Perry and the parents of JonBenét Ramsey. Watch this. Check out JonBenét Ramsey's face and Katy Perry's face. Age progression makes it identical. No, I'm not Katy Perry. But no, and then look at the parents. These are the parents of JonBenét Ramsey, right? Yeah, let's look at the parents of Katy Perry. They never did find JonBenét Ramsey's body. It was never photographed for some reason. The police don't have any records in Boulder, Colorado. Mother and child reunion. Now, supposedly, JonBenét Ramsey's parents died. Is that right? He was very, very successful. He had a stake in Oracle, the major. Yeah. Yeah, the Oracle, the company was owned part by JonBenét Ramsey. Let's take a look at these two faces and compare them. Okay, I don't know. Same jawline, same eyes. Okay, that's as much as I can show you. Very strange. Yeah, I'm glad I show you that because we've talked about a lot of these things over the years, and I very rarely get a chance to bring them up from the old files of the truth files. Well, it's not about aging awfully. It's about, getting your hair shaved and looking like a different scrotum head. Really? Scrotum head? Are you sure? Yeah, but Katie, it is a very similar one. Thank you. I'm not here to claim that that's really happening, but it's interesting. The Boulder, Colorado police, the evidence showed that nothing happened. That no one went in or out of the house. The snow was virgin, and photographs of the area was virgin when they got there. So if somebody died and JonBenét Ramsey, rest her soul, passed away, I'm very sorry, but there were no photographs of her body ever presented. If a person wanted to eliminate their identity and change their identity, that would be an explanation as to why the whole thing happened. And then apparently JonBenét Ramsey's parents are dead, so how convenient is that? I don't know what it means. It could mean that these people are trying to remain anonymous. And Katy Perry developed a great career and is really successful. And I wish her luck. I like her as a musician, but she's a little bit too mainstream for me. But as you know from our show, we've been playing some amazing rock and roll female vocalists. It's been kind of a weird experience, but we've got new ones every night. It's fantastic. Mostly Swedish and Norwegian singers. We've got a Norwegian singer tonight I'm going to be previewing. The Dow Jones took a tumble, 173 points down. Okay, Dave, a couple went out to work yesterday, and when they got home in the evening, they were stunned to find a bicycle in their living room and doors locked. They have no idea who, probably a criminal bicycle guy just decided to leave his bike there and thought he could camp out in that apartment for a while. The most logical conclusion is that this person was like squatting and they just left their bike there. They're probably coming back to get it. Oh, as if we want Xenu back here? I don't know. We looked at this Busorama thing that you just brought us. The Dow Jones, yeah, it's pretty big drop. Not like last week, but hey, we're getting there. You never know with Trump. Right, let's take a look at that right now. Yeah, I think this is in our lineup, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, no, it's not. It's another bus video. Good. Thank you. I like to see bus videos. That's a cool bus. Look at that. I saw one of those going down the road today. And the people had a really nice... man, that's incredible. I can't wait to see this one. Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Very nicely done. I don't know about the seat colors, but whatever. Cool. Well, I added it to our show tonight. Thank you. Cheap RV living, yeah. Well, RVs are a lot more cheap than tiny houses, and some people are getting more excited about RVs because they're already built. On Blog TV Session says we'd be interested in having a debate about Andrew Yang on Twitch. No, I don't want to talk about Andrew Yang on Twitch. I would gladly tell you Andrew Yang is approaching this from a communist perspective and pushing the envelope on an idea that I came up with, the basic income plan, in 2012 with Sarah. She and I created it in Hybrid Capitalism, our book. And Andrew Yang just yanked it and started yanging it in his direction. $1,000 a month is really outrageous, but I'm willing to beat him at $11.11 a month if he wins the Democratic nomination. But I don't think he will, because obviously you Democrats think Biden is your guy. Biden's a Zionist. But if he chooses me as his vice president, I'm going to have to deal with that. Dow Jones drop is 0.28, no panic. Yeah, it's not a big deal in the Dow. It's minus 173, but for some reason it feels bigger than it should. Yeah. Is this the calm before the storm? The quiet before the end? Is this the big drop where thousands will go down instantaneously? I don't think so. There's just too much at stake here. I am sane, rational, and a human being. Correct. I am that, Howie. Biden doesn't stand a chance. Are you serious? Those memes haven't gained any traction. Biden even invited little boys and girls over the next day and said, "Hey, am I touching you?" You know. Oh, he walked right through that, man. Biden handled it like a pro. Oh yeah, he even brought kids out on the stage and said, "I'm not going to touch you." He made a big joke about it. You didn't see that? I'd like to agree with you that all those pictures of him reaching casually over to touch a little girl's breast was, too much to handle. But he could say his body was just gradually moving over. He was pivoting because he was talking to other people. I don't think that audio is good enough to actually incriminate him. Him wanting to, share it to a little girl that that he made a film with his daughter Ashley, and to check it out. That was weird. Bill Gates' advisor shocked that Jeffrey Epstein named him in the will. Wow. Bill Gates' advisor. Yeah, well, I think Jeffrey Epstein is smart enough to realize that as he hides away in some witness protection program, his brother Mark will handle his remaining money. But like I said, there's a massive difference between the net worth of Jeffrey Epstein 2 years ago. Now, I should take a screen cap. Let me go to archive.org and see if I can get a screen cap of that. Yeah, because his money went from $7 billion in net worth, I checked it 2 years ago, to $1 billion this year, and now $577 million. Let me searching Epstein net worth. Jeffrey. Yeah, I've got some voice prints. I'll have to take a look at this.
We're going to begin with the questions growing this morning surrounding the death of accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. The FBI and Justice Department on the case, investigating his apparent suicide while he was in federal custody here in Manhattan. Our chief national affairs correspondent, Tom Yamas, is there outside the jail with new details. Good morning, Tom.
Robin, good morning to you. Sources at the Department of Justice tell us right now the focus of investigators is on the 24 hours leading up to Epstein's suicide. And Attorney General William Barr wants to be updated every 3 hours on any developments, and that there are numerous agents now working this case.
This morning, ABC News is learning new details about the security breakdown surrounding accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's apparent suicide inside of a Manhattan jail cell. His death by hanging now being investigated by the FBI and the Inspector General. A source telling ABC News the Metropolitan Correctional Center has been understaffed, leading to low morale among guards. Another source tells us that the 2 guards in the special housing unit where Epstein was being held were both on overtime. One of the guards on his 5th overtime shift of the week. And that those guards were supposed to check on Epstein every 30 minutes, but did not in the hours before he was discovered Saturday morning. Attorney Bruce Barkett represents Epstein's former cellmate, who roomed with him around 3 weeks ago, when Epstein was found unresponsive with marks on his neck. At the time, Epstein was put on suicide watch, but only for 6 days.
One has to wonder how it is that this man who just tried to take his own life by hanging himself a few weeks ago was in a position to successfully hang himself.
Epstein's death coming less than 24 hours after 2,000 pages of new court documents, including depositions and police reports, were made public.
You're screaming on the inside and you don't know how to let it come out. All you do is obey.
Okay, sorry the audio was down. This woman is basically Virginia Roberts Giuffre has really, been through hell. Yeah. I believe that she's been violated. I believe that she's telling the truth. I also believe that Jeffrey Epstein got away with his freedom, and I don't believe the person they found in the morgue has been properly identified. I'm 100% sure that the person in the morgue is not Jeffrey Epstein. And I've been over this time and time again in our show, and there's nothing more I can say. I mean, you look at the photo and you cannot identify the nose. And the nose knows. Every time we look at this, the nose is the indicator, and we have to, constantly ask ourselves, how can a man have 2 different types of noses? That's clearly not the same nose. No matter what the sizing, it's shaped differently. So I don't have to draw you a big picture. I mean, how big of a picture should I draw? Draw me a big picture, Dave. Okay. From one nose to another, the nose knows. Okay, let's clearly looking at these pictures. I'll draw you a line, and it doesn't take a genius to draw a line, right? Although I am one. And that clearly is a straight line, or it was kind of a straight line. I am malfunctioning. I am beginning to scribble. Malfunction, reboot. Anyway, that's not Jeffrey Epstein. I don't care what they say, it's not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm sorry, but there's no court in the world that would rule that that's Jeffrey Epstein. So what is really going on? Cover up after cover up after cover up. Lost in a world of cover-ups. You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension of constant cover-ups by the Zionist elite as they control the politicians of America. Using the power structure of pedophilia, they've been manipulating our politicians to do whatever they want. This is the method they've been using. Yeah, it's true. Anyway, I don't want to belabor the issue. This woman's a brave woman. I respect the fact that she's gone out of her way to talk about what happened to her when she was a young 15-year-old girl. Thank you, Virginia Giuffre. Yes, and it's interesting how the story's kind of disappearing. The players involved, these women that were handlers for Jeffrey Epstein. Right. Ghislaine Maxwell, and we've talked about this possibly being a fake photograph recently released. Many people experts are saying this is a line that looks very unnatural. And when you look at her picture, clearly you can see it doesn't look right. She's not wearing a fleece, any kind of a fleece outerwear. She's wearing a very tight knit shirt. It doesn't have fleecy marks on it. That looks like anti-aliasing and blurring done by a Photoshop. And the line is unnaturally straight. You can see that. Well, let's be clear. This is her friend, Safian, president of Meadowgate Media Investments, released that photograph. All these people are questionable characters in this. Safian fellow barrister, Alan Jones, represented Maxwell's brother Kevin in the English courts. Interesting. Kevin pictures shortly after being made bankrupt in 2007. Okay, I'm getting too deep into the story. But yeah. We uncovered some pretty weird stuff last night. Misanthropy did. And I want to share this with you because no one else in the world is talking about it. As you know, William Barr, our current Attorney General, who I believe is acting like a shill for Russia. William Barr, who wrote a 19-page letter to Rod Rosenstein to not investigate Michael Flynn, who was our national security advisor, is on record writing this letter and nobody's investigating him. Well, there's a strange connection here that is extremely disturbing as we look for the truth. It's his father. His father, Donald, wrote a book. Yes. And Misanthropy did some deep research on this. Thank you, Misanthropy, for doing that. He did some deep research on this and found the book that William Barr's father, Donald, wrote called Space Relations, A Slightly Gothic Interplanetary Tale in paperback in 1974. So I'm reading the reviews here, and one person said really badly written, gave it a 1, and look what they wrote. I have a copy of this book. It's a really badly written book whose only excuse seems to be to refer to human trafficking and sex slavery either as an appeal to prurient interest, in which case it fails, or to relate reminiscence in fictions, or possibly as a payoff because the dialogue and connecting thoughts are lacking, as well as any real plot even after half the book is read. The writer seems to be like putting everything in terms of girls and boys and children, even when the scenes do not necessarily, but often do, involve kids. So while, for instance, the 14-year-old girl getting raped in the first few chapters is really supposed to be 14, the hero of the book, in danger of being sodomized, bend down kid and make it good, is not supposed to be a kid. It is that way throughout the book. They're either labeled like they are children, the queen was a child, or actually boys or girls, so it pretty much starts with the word naked and goes down from there. It is pretty shocking a headmaster of a school would write this junk. It's not only the low-grade story out there that's not... Now, I stand corrected if this is not his father's book, Donald Barr, but isn't that interesting how his father is being accused in this statement on a blog? Yeah. So I'll show you this link. I'll back to you over there at iBlog. Misanthropy brought this in. Thanks. Donald Barr also hired Epstein at his school. Right. Thank you. You're welcome. Interactive chat at its best. Epstein, as you know, did not have a degree, and yet he worked at a girls' school. And Donald Barr was the one who hired him at the girls' school. And Epstein was only like 21 years old, around 15, 16-year-old girls. Yeah. So this whole story of Jeffrey Epstein kind of starts with Donald Barr. And isn't it interesting now that William Barr is saying he's really going to look into this, but he's not making any moves to start a grand jury investigation? Now, it starts with the Attorney General. He puts it out to Congress. Congress has to actually review it and decide if they want a grand jury investigation. But he hasn't even made that move, which means he just says he's really going to look into this, but nothing's going to come of it. So we're seeing another attempt by the deep state to sweep this under the carpet. And William Barr is the central character in sweeping things under the carpet. He's already obstructed in the case of Donald Trump getting off scot-free when he wrote that 19-page letter claiming they should back off of Michael Flynn, even though we didn't know at the time that our former national security advisor was working for Russia. So William Barr is at the center of that. And that means that he could be working for Russia or the deep state or whoever is funding him. Second of all, he's covering up for a network that seems to be going back to his father's history, Jeffrey Epstein. A conflict of interest at the highest order. Now, you'll notice that Jeff Sessions recused himself on the Russian thing, but William Barr has not recused himself on the Epstein thing, but he's coming out strong like he's really going to look into this. That's a clear example of cover. A complete disinformation campaign pretending like he's going to do something. I can guarantee you William Barr is not going to do anything about Jeffrey Epstein. I can almost assure you nothing will be done here. And the obvious fakery of Jeffrey Epstein's death will continue to plague this nation and keep it from being honest and good. Yes, and yeah, Ghislaine, she's called, not Ghislaine. Ghislaine Maxwell, spotted at reading at the In-N-Out, caused my book to sell out on Amazon. Check this. Thanks, Meta-Nemesis. The author who penned the book, Ghislaine Maxwell, was spotted reading at LA, said the sighting led to the book selling out on Amazon. The Book of Honor, it's called, The Secret Lives and Deaths of CIA Operatives. It penned an op-ed in the Washington Post that he got a good 5 minutes of his 15 minutes of fame, but Gupp wrote that the recent spotting of Jeffrey Epstein's madam, an accused associate in abusing underage girls, caused the book to sell out on Amazon. Okay. He's profiting from it. Any mention of this, of the reader, especially one of such visibility, is welcome, he says. Closing in on a bestseller status of nonfiction. Maxwell has been notoriously hard to track down while Epstein was being held on federal sex trafficking charges before he died by suicide. Well, like I said, this picture of Epstein at the In-N-Out Burger has been debunked. It was pasted. So they pasted a picture of her reading that book, which led to the sales of a book. So what does that mean? Book of Honor, The Secret Lives and Deaths of CIA Operatives. What does that mean? It means that CIA operatives have, it's a strong message that if anybody tries to go after her, it's going to mean the lives and deaths of CIA operatives. That's the hidden meaning. It's kind of like a veiled threat without making a threat. That's the only way I can come up. But there's no analysis in this article about that direction. But it's clearly a message. It's Ghislaine. Yeah. Okay, it's Guy Lane now? Oh, is Guy Lane a transgender? I mean, am I pressing into the realm of transgenderism with Guy Lane? So you're saying Ghislaine Maxwell may be a woman or a dude? You got some bus videos, Busorama. Okay. I'll be bringing more bus videos in. Great. Love it. I don't see any reason why we can't feature that stuff. Yeah, it's cool technology too in my mind. Great. Look, it is confirmed. Donald Barr. Let me see. Selected works. How and wonder why. Yes, it is confirmed that Donald Barr did write the book. That is correct. And you've drawn the connection between Donald Barr and William Barr, his son. Thank you. Thanks for sharing. What this means, I don't know, but it surely raises the bar, pun intended, of whether Barr is credible or not. Build a bus? No, I don't associate with anyone in a personal way. That would involve me meeting you. We'd be building a bus together. Check these buses out he's converting. Brendy bus conversion. That's so cool, man. You took one of those super deluxe ones. Great. We'll play it tonight on our show. Appreciate it. I like all that stuff. It's good. Barr does sound really corrupt. The fact that he says he's going to look into this is bizarre. Barr. Bar none. Barr is not doing his job, and he needs to raise the bar on Barr. I think I've overused the word bar. Don't hit the bar talking about it. Uh-oh. That's terrible. What's going on here? The unfortunate thing is this pathetic human being probably already resides in America, taking advantage of everything in this country is willing to hand her. I'm certain if she's here, 25 of her closest relatives are as well. Sickening, build the damn wall at POTUS. Yeah, this is crap right here is why we really need a border wall. Yeah, I mean, a piñata with Donald Trump on it and a woman stabbing it, that's horrible. I'm with you guys who are conservative too. Believe me, I built this the wall idea. It's my idea. And I even expanded it to a container fence, which Donald Trump has not even bothered to build 1 foot of this. This could easily be built. Now he has $2.5 billion and Donald doesn't even talk about the wall. You notice that? Because Donald's being controlled by the deep state. They don't want a wall. They want our immigration system to collapse and illegal aliens to pour into our country. You'll see that happening more and more with Donald as your president. He's not going to build a fence. It was just to win the election. He stole my 1,000-mile fence idea. Yeah. He's not going to build a fence. You know, Steve Bannon built a mile fence with a private donation. It was amazing. They've already built it. They built it in like 1 week, but Trump can't build 1 mile of fencing. Trump wants Russia back in the G7, and that's another issue which is disturbing because obviously Trump is doing everything he can to help Russia. It's obvious. It doesn't take a lot to imagine Trump being the assistant to Vladimir Putin. I mean, he hated NATO. That's what Putin would want. He hated NATO, and he also helped Putin out in many different ways by not even making an issue of their contamination of our election, which according to our top analysts have said that, you know, Trump is actually working for Russia and Russia helped control the election. Barr can't pass the buck on Epstein. Let's take a look.
And indeed the whole department was, and frankly, angry to learn of the MCC's failure to adequately secure this prisoner. We are now learning of serious irregularities at this facility that are deeply concerning and demand a thorough investigation. We will get to the bottom of what happened. There will be accountability. But let me assure you that this case will continue on against anyone who was complicit with Epstein. Any co-conspirators should not rest easy. The victims deserve justice, and they will get it.
Yeah, easier said than done. I don't know. I didn't sense a little, like even an ounce of sincerity there. Did you? Not me. And an Australian court upholds sex abuse convictions of Cardinal George Pell. He's the most senior Catholic to have been found guilty of sexually abusing children. McCarrick they allude to that, but they've only removed McCarrick from power. Cardinal Pell is the one that they put in the crosshairs. And it's interesting to note that Cardinal Pell was one of the few cardinals that was openly asking for prosecution of pedophiles within the ranks of the Vatican. Prior to being any accusations flying about his role with these two boys, he was one of the vocal advocates looking to prosecute. So it's a kind of an interesting twist. It's almost like they're attacking their own to start with. An Australian court has upheld convictions against the most senior Catholic to be found guilty of child sex abuse. The Victoria State Court of Appeal, by a 2-1 majority ruling issued Wednesday in Melbourne, rejected Cardinal Pell's appeal of the unanimous verdicts a jury issued in December, finding Pope Francis's former finance minister guilty of molesting two 13-year-old choir boys in Melbourne St. Patrick's Cathedral. All right. It wouldn't be the first time we've heard of priests molesting boys, but why aren't they doing more of an investigation? Why isn't the Pope doing a deeper probe into this? You're really into buses, aren't you? This guy has a Busorama fixation. Okay, I'll bring in the Busorama videos tonight, thanks. Yeah, very interesting. Busorama dude. I care about Von Chat, I do. I care about people that come in here. David, can you please ban up so women stop being so stuck up? Oh, so we're going to all gather together and force women to not be stuck up. How's that going to work? Really? How do you propose we do that? You've got a 100 square foot bunkie prefab cabin. You know, last week we learned how to build an A-frame. Truth Tuesday is blending with other things. You guys like tiny houses, so last week we learned how to build an A-frame for $2,500 with $29 plans you can order on the internet. This week we're going to feature Bunkie Prefab Cabin uses joiner and assembly of furniture design. Hey, hey, hey. Whoa, that's kind of cool. Whoa. Sneak peek. Okay, on to the video lineup is getting bigger. Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Well, I don't think so. You know, I don't think women intentionally want to be a certain way. They just are. Why don't you accept them the way they are? Why are you trying to change people? It seems like your premise, Howie, is completely twisted. Instead of accepting people like the Eastern religions and they try to understand humility, you want to change everyone around you. It's like you're not willing to point the finger at yourself. Perhaps you should change yourself, Howie. Yeah, he's trying to change women. I resent what he's doing too, Jessica. Yeah, you shouldn't have to be a certain way. Women shouldn't have to be a cookie cutter of what you're looking for. Who the hell are you? Yeah. No, you're prejudging women, Zeno. The reason why you've become so judgmental of women is because you haven't had one. Yeah. You haven't been with a woman. What's stopping you from actually having a woman? Any one of you hasn't had a woman. What's stopping you from going to Mustang Ranch out in Vegas? I mean, seriously. Just tell them you're going to wear a condom through the whole event. I mean, that'll get this out of your system. You're so pent up with incel anxiety. Incel anxiety, a common problem now among America's youth. This, the IA plan is definitely affecting them. Space relations. So the book is priced between $6 and $30 online, and up to $130 to $300 on eBay, but it's out everywhere else. Well, Max, I don't know if this Donald Barr fast facts you need to know will get us to where we want to go, but a judge is questioning Barr's handling of Mueller's findings. Okay, that's good to know.
A federal judge in Washington, D.C. on Monday pressed Department of Justice lawyers on why the public shouldn't be allowed to see redacted portions of former special counsel Robert Mueller's report, suggesting that he may be willing to consider releasing at least some of the restricted document. Judge Reggie Walton, an appointee of former President George W. Bush, posed the questions during a hearing on a pair of Freedom of Information Act lawsuits seeking the redacted portions of the report. The Electronic Privacy Information Center and BuzzFeed News reporter Jason Leopold filed lawsuits earlier this year. The cases have since been consolidated, and attorneys for each party split the arguments during Monday's hearing.
Okay, so in other words, the entire investigation and any charges of obstruction is dead in the water. They are dead in the water. Both of these cases. Yeah. There's nowhere to go. Man, if you go on Twitch, the women on there are such an attention. Really, they like attention. What woman doesn't like attention, man? So if an incel has sex with a hooker, he's still an incel? Is that part of the incel rule book that you created in your own mind? I believe that if Donald Trump did conspire with Russia, like Mueller says that he did, he used the word conspire, not collude. He conspired with Russia, and we know that Donald Trump knew about Russia in advance, controlling the election, and didn't report to the FBI. We know that. And if Donald Trump ran around telling people like Dan McGahn that he wanted to fire Mueller, and 4 people heard him say that, that's obstruction. Plain and simple. So there's been conspiracy with Russia for a fact. Russia did affect the election in about 182 million impressions on Facebook, not to mention other networks across the globe. We also know that the obstruction effort was way beyond just telling Dan McGahn to do that. And he won't now allow Dan McGahn to testify, which is obstruction in and of itself. And basically, Nadler has not done anything other than turn this into a civil case. And it's pathetic that such a man like Nadler is running the show over there. He's got no charisma, no balls. And Nancy Pelosi has put the lid on this case. So you Democrats, pretty much, the only thing good going for you right now is that Donald is such a weird person that he's driving votes toward you. The problem is you're showing no balls as a party, so you're going to lose a lot of viewers and a lot of supporters for the Democratic Party. Many people are going to look at the stock market for 2020. And if it's going up, Donald is going to win. If it's not, Biden is going to win. If the Democrats can't come up with anybody better than Biden, it's really iffy if they'll even win, because Biden's got a lot of baggage on him too. It's almost 50-50 still. It's going to go down to the same kind of election that Hillary and Donald had, if that comes to the 2 parties only as your choice. If we have a third party, obviously it opens this field wide open. And then we have an opportunity to see a brand new America with a future that is clean and green and offers opportunity to kids, low-cost education, certifications to work, or even get a basic income that everyone needs. But you won't get that with Biden. You won't get that with Trump. And we won't be able to solve this environmental crisis if you continue to vote like a herd of cattle. Democrat, moo, or a Republican, moo. Yeah. I'm sorry to say, but the cowbell is clicking, and you people are acting like livestock if you keep voting 2 parties. We got lots and lots of cowbell. So Bernie's not going to do it, guys. He folded with Hillary. He has no new ideas. He's never done anything to stop corruption in Vermont, per se. He's shown no track record of approaching the real big Wall Street abusers. I'm on record saying I will fire everybody in the SEC to start with. The Security Exchange Commission will have all new people brought together from watchdog groups around the country that can actually look into the unbelievable excesses of Wall Street. Plus, Bernie is too old. No offense, I agree. You know, we're going to pass on that one. Live leak, yeah. I just don't believe you should show people smearing feces on each other's face. Yeah. But the Busarama guy, you're kind of overdoing the bus thing. I mean, you're giving me at least 48 minutes of bus conversions, and I appreciate that. It'll fill up a lot of our time, and I appreciate that. So, but tonight's Truth Tuesday, we normally talk about the 9/11 attack and how we completely lost touch with our roots. If we don't look at the 9/11 attack again with some questions, we will never get to the bottom of why our government lied to us. I have to remind everybody that we have yet to find and arrest any one person that perpetrated that terrible act against 2,996 people on that fateful day of 9/11, 2001. And we've seen such it's almost a mockery of the people in the country that they showed only a few frames of a building, the Pentagon, being attacked by what appears to be a missile. And no one's asked any questions. Why would a missile be attacking the Pentagon? And we only got 15 frames of all the camera angles around the Pentagon during the actual strike. They released a lot of information after the strike, but not much during the strike. Now you can see right here a white streak is entering the picture. Yeah, sure. You can see it. Let's take a closer look here. Yeah, sure. Look at that. Now, folks, that's the tip of a missile, not a plane. No, that's not Latvian girl. She's not in here. She'd have to send me a new clip of herself saying, David, I watch you from Latvia. No problem. I like you. We make me feel happy now. Yeah, you're not going to do that. I get that. I believe she was a Russian agent. Yeah. You're the mole? Really? So you're Latvian girl's mole, huh? She had a pretty prominent mole. I definitely am going to read. Bernie Sanders is anti-white, as you know, because he's catering to people who are so politically correct they hate white people even though they're white. It's called white guilt, and Bernie's kind of the party of white guilters. Speaking of the Black Church PAC presidential forum in Atlanta 2 weeks after a gunman opened fire in El Paso with the goal of killing Mexicans, Senator Bernie Sanders on Saturday said his administration will go to war against white nationalism and racism. Wow. He says he's Jewish. My family came from Poland. My father's whole family was wiped out by Hitler and his white nationalism. Too many people have fought over the years. Too many people have died against racism to allow it to resurface and flourish in America. We will go to war against white nationalism. What, are they going to take away our guns like Hitler did? Would Bernie want to take away our guns? I think he would. I think Bernie's so pro-gun control, he'd probably want everyone in this country to have their guns taken away at gunpoint. I wouldn't doubt it. He's such a goose stepper. He seems like a commie to me. Yeah, he calls himself an independent, but he seems like a communist. I don't want any bad things to happen to him. He is in the 1%, you know. Bernie Sanders is an Ashkenazi Jew in the 1%. He makes $2.3 million a year on his book sales. So, hey, this Jew is saying anti-white things again. What can I say, misanthropy? You know, among people in Vermont, Bernie was known as the moocher. He never worked till he was 45 years old. He never even drew a salary. Seriously. And Bernie ended up going into people's houses and eating their roast beef sandwiches. Yes, he liked them. I'm not sure if he hit the pastrami because that has ham in it. David, one of my family members was a Jew in Poland, was selected to the gas chambers. I did not know this, Zeno. Thank you so much for sharing your terrible story. What can I say? You should perhaps write it down and send it to the Sleben Wiesenthal Institute. Have you asked your rabbi? We live in a world here where we are Bernie supporters. The Berntards are everywhere here. Yeah. And they all think that Bernie is going to solve the world's problems. Bernie promised us 14 million jobs, but he couldn't name one of them. Bernie claims that if we tax every single corporation, the top 4 corporations in the country, and he wouldn't name those, and we tax them, that we could somehow pay off our national debt in just 5 years. And I did the math on that, and the most we could get from, say, Amazon would be $3 billion, based on current tax law. And if we look at 4 or 5 companies, the most we would get was maybe $15 billion a year. Well, the country is $22 trillion in debt. Yeah. That's $22,000 billion. That's a lot. Not just a few. 15. We're not going to be able to pay off the national debt in 5 years. We won't even scratch it. We need a restructuring. Truly, the truth is we need to restructure our banking system. I like the end the Fed idea, but I don't think the Fed's going to want to end. So I think phasing the Fed out slowly and bringing up an infrastructure bank is the way to go. Dow Jones is down 173 points. Yeah. So I have a concept where I believe we could have an infrastructure bank offering 2% loans. And companies that are currently shackled to the terrible economy will begin to become unshackled and will begin to grow financially again. If we link this to just hiring U.S. businesses getting these loans and U.S. employees working and no illegal aliens allowed, if they take a 2% loan, we will automatically begin to get rid of the abuse going on among companies that are hiring illegally. Infrastructure bank is the way to go. I did play the Michael video earlier tonight, Misanthropy. Yeah, we have it queued up. I'm amazed you didn't come in during that time. Bernie in Hong Kong, really. Okay, Latvian girls mole. Bernie Sanders arrives in Hong Kong to lecture protesters on how good they have it under communism. No kidding, wow. So Bernie Sanders is now working for the National Chinese. Was I right or was I wrong? Look at this. Bernie is like a National Chinese representative. Holy moly. Thank you for this link. My goodness. As soon as Bernie Sanders heard about the Democratic protesters in Hong Kong, he knew something had to be done. The U.S. Senator quickly chartered a flight to Hong Kong in order to throw himself into the fray. Sanders bravely stood in the middle of the conflict between police and protesters, shouting at the ungrateful little dissenters that they don't know how good they have it under a communist regime. Oh my God. Remember, you could have it worse, a lot worse. You could be in America. Wow. Hey, you on the floor, you're not looking very appreciative in living in one of the greatest communist countries on earth. Sanders continued his long-winded and ran out about the need for the government to own means of production, how great bread lines are, and how bad things are in a capitalist America, as protesters got dragged away by police to be disappeared. Just think, in America we have to pick between 14 different types of deodorant, he said, his fingers flopping around like limp sausages. Oh my God. And according to sources, Beto O'Rourke is planning to join Sanders to inform Chinese citizens how lucky they are that they are not living in a racist country like America. Can you believe this? Boy, those commies are really showing their true colors, man. Thanks for linking me. That's amazing. This is why I do this show, because I get these great links. Is this real? This is hilarious. I know. Yeah, you want a link? You want a link? Hey, take a link here. Yeah, I know I'm not sharing links between my rooms here too well, huh? Let me share another link, huh? Another leg, huh? I don't bother with Larry Sinclair's website. We're not talking about Larry Sinclair other than to profile his struggle.
Where Senator Obama exited the limousine with $250, which was provided to him by me. Returned a short while later with an 8-ball of cocaine, which he gave to me. I did ingest a couple of lines of cocaine, and shortly thereafter, Senator Obama produced a glass cylinder pipe and packet of crack cocaine from his pocket. Obama then smoked the crack cocaine. I performed fellatio on Senator Obama in the limousine during the time Senator Obama was smoking crack cocaine, after which I had the driver take me to my hotel, the Comfort Suites, Gurnee, Illinois.
Thank you, Larry, for providing that information. We really appreciate knowing that Barack Obama is a homosexual crackhead, married to a transgender named Michael. What are we going to do with that? I mean, why do you keep going there? I mean, where are we going from here? I mean, I've been the birther candidate all along. I've carried the torch for this, and you continue to press this issue, but where are we going with it? It is important for people to know, and I appreciate your concern. So I'm glad we shared that again and again in every show. Starry, starry night. There's not supposed to be any living organisms in this environment. What is going on? We caught Omar in a verbal glitch yesterday. And I think we're dealing with a woman who just doesn't understand how big Israel's connection to our country really is.
Is nothing less than an attempt by an ally of the United States to suppress our ability to do our jobs as elected officials. But this is not just about me. Netanyahu's decision to deny us entry might be unprecedented for members of Congress, but it is the policy of his government when it comes to Palestinians. This is the policy of his government when it comes to anyone who holds views that threaten the occupation. A policy that has been edged on and supported by Trump's administration. That's because the only way to preserve unjust policy is to suppress people's freedom of expression, freedom of association, and freedom of movement.
Well, I will agree with her there that we do need to see, Trump should never have asked Netanyahu to limit access to anyone, even people that disagree with their administration. But I think this woman really is out to lunch trying to tell Israel what to do. The real issue is, why is Israel controlling our politics and creating an even bigger problem with the backers of Israel trying to create a new world order? These people don't talk about that because they don't know much about it.
Contrary to many media reports and the statements of the Israeli Prime Minister, I plan to meet directly with members of the Knesset and Israeli security, along with Palestinian civil society groups, former IDF soldiers, Israel, Palestine, and international organizations, and United Nations officials.
Okay.
Leading up to the trip, I met with constituents holding a wide range of views on the conflict. All the activities on my trip had been done by members of Congress in the past, including a nearly identical trip a few years ago led by the very same Palestinian organization leading this trip. In addition to me and Rashida going on the trip, we were going to be joined by Stacy Plaskett from the Virgin Islands. The decision to ban me and my colleagues, the first two Muslim American women elected to Congress, is nothing less than an attempt by an ally of the United States to suppress our ability to do our jobs as elected officials. But this is not just about me. Netanyahu's decision to deny us entry might be to preserve on the ground on the West Bank. Last year, the Netanyahu government, these actions have nothing to aid every year. Fortunately, we in the United States have a constructive role to play. We give Israel more than $3 million in aid every year.
Wait a second. She says we give Israel over $3 million. We give Israel $3.5 billion a year. The numbers are huge. We used to give Pakistan $1.5 billion. We no longer do that under Trump. He pulled the plug on a lot of their aid, but now we're hearing from some people that Trump wants to cut off aid to 100 countries. Well, I've talked about cutting aid to up to 50% worldwide, but Trump likes my ideas so much he's probably stealing that now. All I can tell you is that this woman just got something major wrong, and there's no way that she has a clue as to how much money we're giving because she got that major statistic wrong, which is suspicious. How come her speechwriters can't even formulate a thought? So she isn't the smartest person in the block, so she's kind of I would say a stool pigeon or a scapegoat that they put in play to make it seem like Muslims have a voice. She's clearly not that intelligent, and it's pretty sad that this woman is able to even do this, considering she's committed what appears to be a violation of immigration law when she married her gay brother to make him a U.S. citizen. So why isn't Donald Trump pursuing Ilhan Omar as an immigration fraud? I have no idea. I mean, why would he allow her in play right now when there's more than enough evidence to convict her? But this is playing out. You see, they want to drive a wedge between Muslims and the Christian and Jewish world. A woman got on Oprah, a Jewish woman came out claiming her family has been ritualistic sacrificing children for decades. There's a video. Thank you.
Devil participated in human sacrifice rituals and cannibalism. She says her family has been involved in rituals for generations. She is currently in extensive therapy, suffers from multiple personality disorder.
Well, gosh, let's take a look at that. Who doesn't want to watch somebody suffering from multiple personality disorder and claiming human sacrifices are going on? Yeah, nothing more credible than that. I'll play it tonight for sure. But I mean, really. Yowza, yowza, yowza. And you got one too, Scissor Fight. Philly shooting 100% fake. More talk about fake, false flaggery in the heartland. Many people are watching 153 News because it...
All right, last video I'm going to make about this.
We can't show any photographs of blood, video photographs of blood or decedents on the screen. So we will not play that. Yeah, but I will play it later in the show. Yeah, I'm concerned too. But if we show live video of that kind of stuff, still photographs are one thing, but live video, it could be weird. I know, I don't want to lose my YouTube show and have it drain down the drain over some allegation. Thanks for the misanthropy video, that'll be good. Seth Rich murder update. Really? FBI claims they didn't investigate, but the NSA claims can't disclose files due to matter of national security. Really? The Gateway Pundit is digging deeper into the Seth Rich mystery. We all wondered if Mueller was going to go after that, and he never did. He never bothered to interview anyone regarding Seth Rich. Mueller did a very cursory job, and that 448 pages, redacted and all, is really kind of pathetic. He didn't do his job, in my opinion. And then he wanted to get away with not testifying. I think that's pretty indicative of who Mueller is. Robert Mueller seems to be a shill for the deep state. Now, the Seth Rich murder update. FBI claims they didn't investigate, but NSA claims can't disclose files due to a matter of national security. This is Seth Rich, by the way, the guy that passed away. He allegedly pulled files out of Hillary Clinton's tech guy, the Awan brother. One of these guys was implicated in this, but he got off scot-free. With the help of Debbie Wasserman Schultz's brother, Steve Wasserman, who was a prosecuting attorney in Washington, he represented the plaintiff in this matter, and it's illegal to do that. So Steve Wasserman may have violated ethics laws by doing that, but either way, he got the Awan brothers off charges, and this whole story went away. But Texas businessman Ed Butowski filed a lawsuit when he outed reporter Ellen Ratner as a source for information on Seth Rich. The DNC operative was murdered in the summer of 2016 in Washington, and his murder was never solved. According to the lawsuit, Seth Rich provided WikiLeaks the DNC emails before the 2016 election, not Russia. That's what it looked like to us, not Roger Stone, too. This totally destroys the FBI and Mueller's claims that Russians hacked the DNC to obtain those emails. Butowski claims in his lawsuit, Mrs. Ratner said Mr. Assange told her that Seth Rich and his brother Aaron were responsible for releasing the DNC emails to WikiLeaks. This is the first we've heard about that. Ms. Ratner said that Mr. Assange wanted the information relayed to Seth's parents as it might explain the motive for Seth's murder. It's interesting to note that Seth's murder basically was not, they haven't pursued it. His parents don't want a murder investigation, and that's strange. They've actually said they don't want anyone to know anymore. It's like they want to leave it to rest. That's suspicious too. On November 9, 2016, Ellen Ratner admitted publicly that she met with Julian Assange for 3 hours that Saturday before the 2016 election. According to Ratner, Julian Assange told her the leaks were not from the Russians. They were from an internal source from the Hillary campaign. So we've got the proof of that
I know we all I hate these media people. They're the worst. Awful, awful. But don't get hung up on it, because it doesn't have that much of an effect. And they did report the emails. Wikipedia. They went after Hillary.
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. Yeah, excuse me.
By the way, just FYI,
I got to take a WikiLeaks.
I spent 3 hours with Julian Assange on Saturday at the Ecuadorian embassy
get
in
this.
London.
Listen to this. Go ahead.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
But one of the things he did say is that the leaks were not from, they were not from the Russians. They were an internal source from the Hillary campaign, or from somebody that knew Hillary, an enemy. He does not think they're from Russians. And he said Russia got credit for something WikiLeaks should have gotten credit for.
Well, how many people think that there was part of the party, the Democratic Party, that was trying to put the poison in? Because I always wondered if there were people who just secretly wanted to ruin it for her within their own party. Do you think that?
Well, as he said, she's been around a long time and she has a lot of enemies, and the enemies that he had or has are mainly in the real estate business, but not, he hasn't been in public life, so he doesn't have that sort of enemies that all of us would get if we were in public life.
I know I hate these media.
Okay, that was very interesting. Yeah. Very compelling information. Let me add that to my library.
I hate these media.
Okay, well, there you have it. This story should have been national news. It didn't make it. And again, Robert Mueller used the Roger Stone investigation to redact 9% of those documents, those 448-page documents. So Robert Mueller has created a barrier, a false barrier, to stop oversight over this whole case. Censored yet again on Media for Truth videos. Let's see what that is. Thanks, Scissor Fight.
Yep, good old YouTube. Excuse me, took me out again. How do you guys like that? Try removing, re-adding your account on this device.
Wow.
YouTube account notification today, 11/29.
So Matty D for Truth has been getting his YouTube account shut down. Wow. This is happening right before your very eyes. Censorship at the highest level over people trying to seek the truth. And anyone who shows live video of any type of what appears to be a bloody scene that was been promoted, like in New Zealand or any other scene, they get their videos taken down rather quickly. They're calling it a hate crime to show apparently fake blood. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I don't know. His former cellmate, Epstein's former cellmate, got taken out of the room the day before Epstein was allegedly suicided. Yeah, so his former cellmate it's highly unlikely that he's going to get taken out, considering what he looks like too. And he seems like a made guy, like a good fella, Well, let's just say he's got a lot of people protecting him. But New York Post says that jail guards are threatening former Epstein's cellmate Nicholas Tartaglione. Yeah, the guy's built like a rock. I mean, look at him. He's a bodybuilder. He's a big guy. Jeffrey Epstein's former Manhattan cellmate says guards at the lockup have been threatening him since the financier's death, according to legal filing by his attorneys, asking a judge to move him into a new prison. Hulking ex-cop Nicholas Tartaglione, who briefly bunked with Epstein at Metropolitan Correctional Center, has been told by various guards there to shut up, stop talking, and stop complaining, as questions swirled about how the accused sex trafficker was able to commit suicide in federal custody. Huh. He was sharing a cell with Epstein during what's believed to have been the 66-year-old's first suicide attempt on July 23rd, but the two were separated before the hanging himself on August 10th, before Epstein hung himself on August 10th. So, highly unlikely he knows anything about that day, because he was taken out of the cell. That would protect him to a certain degree. But yeah, no witnesses. That why not get rid of everybody, right? Sure. I would imagine that would be the case. These murderers or alleged murderers that have been going on behind the scenes in correctional facilities, whether this guy really knew anything or not is almost immaterial to them. They'll just eliminate any potential threat. Oh, Scissorfight said, just a thought, maybe Epstein's in witness protection. Yeah, that's what I've been insinuating for the past few days, and we talked about him just getting a new identity. I don't think he's in witness protection. I think he's actually given a new identity automatically. This is the telling statement that Costa made when he was describing to the entire world, when he testified, that he felt that Epstein was, they were telling him that Epstein was intelligence and that he should stand down. Those were Costa's words. That's why he only gave Epstein 13 months previously. So he was told to stand down in this whole event, and that's a telltale sign that Jeffrey Epstein's intelligence, and they're protecting him. It's more than likely he's just at it again. This guy's good at arranging horrible, heinous acts with children, between adults and children, and then videotaping them. That's his forte. And Ghislaine, whatever her name is, Maxwell, is complicit in a lot of those events, and she's not even being pursued by the FBI, so they're covering for him. Yeah. They're covering from all the relations he has with all these people. And we pretty much debunked the whole Ghislaine Maxwell picture at the In-N-Out Burger. It's completely fake. And the author of this book, it looks to me like the author of this book has made a lot of money on the book already that she's reading there, because people are looking it up. But it's almost like a veiled threat to CIA operatives that they can't talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. That the story's going to end because the message is out. These people could die if they break the code that's written into the hard drive of every CIA agent. I don't mean literally hard drive, but I'm talking about people that have been working at the CIA for years. We all heard the allegations of the CIA working for child traffickers. So it stands to reason that the CIA would be involved with Jeffrey Epstein as intelligence. So we're looking at the backbone of what appears to be blackmailing going on within our government that's not been detected up until this point. This is kind of an amazing time in history, because we're getting a kind of a backdoor window of how corrupt everything is. Pretty sad too when you think about it. This story is very shocking, and I'm going to show it to you anyway. This brings it all together. A CIA agent says that agency supplies pedophiles with children. Yep. And this story, John Kirikou had been an agent at the CIA for 14 years and left the agency in 2004. But he was associated with Hollywood and the industry, and he was used essentially to, bring children in. He said that the CIA is using child prostitutes. The CIA veteran described how he would meet up with elite sources in a hotel. In return for information, the source would demand a child. Kiriakou explained how he would think of the elite oligarchs as being scumbags, but that he would be forced to give them what they wanted, being it's written into his laws at CIA to do whatever he's told. They're allowed to break laws. In the eyes of our government, that's the problem. We have people breaking laws, and they think it's okay to do what they're told. So if the CIA is covering for Jeffrey Epstein, which it looks like they are, and if this entire story has been suppressed, the coroner was ordered to rig the coroner results, then we have a deep strain of corruption that goes all the way to the top of government. And it's like, how do you pull the evil spine of corruption out of the government when it's strapped in and ready to attack anybody that tries to expose it? Good luck. It's almost like dealing with an alien monster. You're talking about Magogs versus Gogs? Okay. Weather warfare. Imagine spending 2 hours stealing from a fake bank. Oh, okay. Is this Kitboga? Thank you.
Okay, but I don't understand what's going on.
Ma'am, it's okay. We're here to help you with everything. Okay, remember we've set up a time to help you with your computer.
Okay, thank you. This guy does a lot of anti-scam work, dealing with scammers who are trying to hit up old people on the internet. Yeah, I'll bring that into the show. Thanks. I added to our link library. And this one. Yeah. All right. A journalist in the Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut has also got Epstein body photos. Really? Yeah, okay, I'm looking at them here. I only see one body photo. It's the same body photo. Oh, here he was saying that Kubrick was happy, joking around, and completely at peace. And he was already thinking about a new project when he died. Then he went to bed as usual. The next morning, his wife found him dead. He'd suffered a heart attack in his sleep. It was completely unexpected. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens with a lot of people. They die in their sleep from a heart attack. Yeah, I don't know. It's like they believe that Kubrick may have had knowledge of the moon landing being fake. But British authorities said that they're nothing out of the ordinary. Yes. Okay. Not sure what this item shows me, Misanthropy, but yeah, it looks different. Right. I got the Zero Hedge story about the former cellmate begging to get out of custody, out of the Metropolitan Correctional Center. Epstein's former cellmate begs judge for transfer to another jail. Yeah, there you go. There he is, the guy that is in custody, but could very well be, at risk for his own life, because he was there with Epstein just one day before, and he may have seen or heard something that may let one believe that there's been a cover-up. So he's worried about his own safety. Very interesting. Thank you. Nicholas Tartaglione. They talked about the deplorable conditions at the Metropolitan Correctional Center. A serious rodent and insect infestation. Wow. It's just a horribly run facility, and I seriously think that they easily bribed anybody around this event. And we got a weather warfare story here from Scissor 5.
Hi, everybody. It's August 20, 2019. I want to start this weather video with telling you that, yes, I have a playlist on Never Lose Truth, my primary channel.
Oh, she's had to open up a second one, folks. She lost Never Lose Truth 1. Wow. Okay. She's up to another one, so be sure to subscribe. Right. I'm subscribed to her new one, but yeah, she's trying to fight the censorship big time. Okay, well, I'll add her to the list tonight. And I guess we've reached the end of the show tonight. This is all we've got. Thank you for all the links. Appreciate it, man. The fires in Alaska are out of control. Amazon, last couple of weeks, yeah. I wish we could get to the bottom of it. KY Poopy says he's experienced unusual amounts of attacks. Wow. Okay. Over and over again, while being incarcerated, you would suspect that Epstein could have been tortured and killed outside of his cell. Yeah. Yeah, well, probably asking for his money. Nah. We think that Epstein got out. You see, my premise is this. If Epstein had the level of security that he seemed to have, and the preparation, we know that he, prior, about a year ago, when everything started coming down on him, he bought, or he had an express delivery of a concrete truck, along with carpet pullers and tile pullers. We know that he must have used those to cover up evidence. Ironically, there's no pursuit right now by the government to open up any recent concrete jobs that were done there. There's no attempt right now with cadaver dogs on the Epstein Island at St. James. So there's a lack of inquest and investigation into the Epstein Island right now, which reeks of the word cover-up. So Epstein more than likely had the ability to build a file list and have a computer expert set up an automatic email sending system that would send emails to all kinds of people, media officials, revealing the truth about a lot of things that he did if something were to happen to him. So somebody of that caliber would have that as insurance against being incarcerated. So they had to come up with a way of neutralizing this threat that he would reveal everything. This is my supposition. By simply faking his death and giving him freedom, which gets him out of the situation rapidly and puts him back in play, which they really do want, because like Acosta said, he's part of their intelligence community. That's why Acosta didn't give him more than 13 months in jail. So we're beginning to see a bigger picture, which points, of course, to complicity with the highest levels of our government. Why would they need a person to get dirt on, and a pedophile dirt on politicians? Luring them to pedophile orgy island, having videotapes in every room? Well, because the government works through blackmail. And it's unfortunate that things aren't getting done right now in government because people probably have their hands tied and they're being blackmailed, many of them. I'm not saying really all congressmen, women are being blackmailed, but I'm sure there's a lot rolling behind the scenes that we don't ever hear about. That's probably why our government does so little during their time frame. They're the most useless government we've ever had. They literally accomplish next to nothing. So, according to this video, society is witnessing yet another scapegoat ritual. Okay, look at TruthStream Media. They've got really good stuff. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. And I think this rounds up our link sharing, okay? Thank you for that link. I just don't buy the idea that Jeffrey Epstein was beaten up. The fact that they had audio of moaning in the background, that could be the bag person they did beat up and kill. Because it does look like the guy had bruising on his face, which indicates, more than indicates, with the bruising on the face and the cheek, that the guy was beaten up. You can see it on the cheek. He clearly had not the nose of Epstein, and definitely had a bruise mark on the side of his face. So how can the coroner possibly conclude this was suicide when it's clearly an evidence of bruising? Contusions and any type of hematoma like that occur immediately while the body's alive, not post-mortem. well, except for long-term post-mortem, then everything kind of melts away. But yeah, there's a lot of fires going on in the Amazon. There's a Russian fire happening, a massive Siberian Russian fire. Putin needs to get top quality machines out there and drop water on those things, but I'm not Putin, so. Goiver believes that the basement floor of the entire complex in Orgy Island comprised of dead children. Now that's a theory that's rolling on the internet that's very, very possible, and it's suspicious that the government isn't even looking for any murderers, victims, or anything. They're trying to sweep this under the wool, basically, or under the rug. Thank you. Yeah, he wouldn't even go back to the jail. More than likely, he would have been shuttled out with his attorneys, and guards were paid off, and they brought in a bag person and beat the crap out of him and broke his neck and called him Jeffrey Epstein. They probably found a physical match, except a guy with more of a curved nose. Yeah, okay, we're about ready to wrap it up. Okay, so Trump is threatening China, saying that Donald Trump says Tiananmen Square crackdown in Hong Kong would harm trade talks. Okay, well, whatever China does with Hong Kong is up to them, since they have control over Hong Kong. And in lieu of that, there's not much we could do as a nation. But now he's trying to make it seem like China's the bad guy, again putting them at a deficit. It's been a failed policy since Trump started getting ammunition against China, like the Meng arrest. It looks to me like Trump is approaching this negotiation all wrong. China is not going to respond to threats and accusations. They're not open to being manipulated. And the Chinese have to save face in this matter. So Trump is creating a dead-end solution here, which no one's going to win. In order to have a good, proper negotiation, you have to have a win-win solution for both sides. And he's already laying out, recriminations against China for any actions they may take in the future. He doesn't know how to negotiate. He never wrote Art of the Deal. Trump actually there was a ghostwriter. Anthony Schwartz wrote The Art of the Deal. And got paid to write it. Anthony Schwartz, or Tony Schwartz as they call him, he actually said Donald Trump's ghostwriter tells all. He actually said before the election, he warned everybody that Donald Trump did not write that book. He doesn't know how to negotiate. Trump is more like a little child getting his way all the time. And his dad let him have all his way all the time, and he didn't even have to go to war. He got out of the war claiming he had bone spurs in his feet. It's ridiculous. Donald Trump pretty much was a draft dodger. Yeah, he doesn't understand anything. So we're out of here. I got to wrap this up because Sarah's waiting for me to start this next episode 4 of Game of Thrones. She's luring me in slowly. I don't side with Hong Kong. I just don't think America has any chance of stopping China once they had control of Hong Kong and British rule surrendered over a 99-year period. Obviously, there's not a thing I can do to stop that from happening. I asked people in the room the other night, I said, how many of you want to send troops into Hong Kong right now? We had one person. No one wants to commit troops to Hong Kong. I'm just telling you, we're not going... Well, I think Game of Thrones is intriguing, but it's a good show, no question about it, but I can't wait till I see Brienne of Tarth. She's coming. Latvian girl says we must send troops to Hong Kong to defend the people. Well, I will say this. The people are proceeding with a non-violent rally, and I think that's really, really good. If China was smart, they would issue some sort of a social credit bargain for the people who are assembling, that they would probably get a free kickback on trips to outside the country or something. No, actually, they won't let them out of Hong Kong. They're never going to let those people out of Hong Kong. No. The smart thing to do would be to give them asylum in other countries. Many of the people living there don't want to live under Beijing's rule, so they're protesting. But that protest should have happened years ago. This is a long time coming. Right, Breaking Bad was better. Have you seen Ozark? That's pretty good too. I can't wait till the new episodes of Ozark come out. But no, we're watching Game of Thrones. I just don't want to leave her hanging there. My mind is vast. Yeah, I would like to give you a specific solution as to how I would react if Hong Kong was, continuing to act with such violence against its people, the Beijing government. But I really can't telegraph what I would do, nor would I, I certainly don't want to send troops to Hong Kong. I really don't. It's too much. It's an overreaction, and we need to pursue some sort of a peaceful trade talk with China at this point. It's not going to help for us to continue to drive a wedge between the two countries over this point. All right, we're moving forward with the bouncy. Take care. We'll be back tomorrow night. I'll be in until 1 o'clock, though, playing videos, so enjoy. Good luck, KY Poopy. Looks like you've been through a hellish experience. Yeah. You won't even go online or go on camera because you don't want to be seen. It sounds like you're recovering from a serious episode in your life. Okay, I'll wait till season 2. Okay, thank you, Tiddly D. No, believe me, I'm going to be a Game of Thrones watcher, and I know you guys really enjoyed it, but I'm going very slowly. I thought we would be pounding through the episodes, but I think we're going to take it like over a couple months, if not 6 months. We thought for a second we'd be spending 2 weeks watching them every single one, bumper to bumper, but I think we'll just slowly watch them, Take care. Good night.
America is ready for a change. A third party is the change we need. Accountability in government, term limits for Congress, media verification, and a fresh approach to fixing our environment. We need a new direction for our nation. Join us in the middle of the political spectrum for our nightly commentary and discussion at America's Third Party.